Hello again. Welcome back to the Face Off Podcast. Here we are again. This time, though, it's the middle of the day. This is the weirdest one ever because it's in the middle of the motherfucking day. It's a beautiful September 14th, 2018. Beautiful day out here. Nice, crisp, but the sun's still out. It's warm. There's still homeless dude in the park, been working on a baby stroller for the last 4.5 hours. It just does not seem like it's going together. I'm not sure if the dude's homeless. He does appear to be homeless, but almost everybody who's in that park appears to be homeless, so it's hard to say. I appear to be homeless when I'm walking around in that park because I'm usually in my pajamas, which is just basically my regular clothes, but they're well slept in, so they're all like wrinkly and shit, and stumbling around incoherently, looking at my phone. That's another odd thing these days is, I mean, I don't think it's odd, but a lot of the homeless folks, they have cell phones, and they're looking at them just like regular regular people. that was bad. That's bad. They're looking at him like your regular Joe 6-pack on the street there, checking out his phone, checking out his Facebook messages. You can be homeless and still have a Facebook and hang out with everybody, and maybe nobody even knows. They're just like, he's an outdoorsy type. That's the sort of thing he's into. He likes to get out there in the woods, check out the scene. I got extra energy in the room. My two dogs are here, Petunia, the pug, and Morty Monkey, the Italian greyhound. They're hanging out, pretty much snoozing. Anytime their mama's not around, they just go to sleep. Anytime I'm not around, they're fucking up, acting crazy, getting nuts, needing that attention. It's they're weird. They're good. They're good dogs. I like my dogs. I enjoy their company. They're usually the ones that are hanging out with me in the park when I'm looking hobo-ish. I look like an unstylish hobo too, you know? You see some style in these guys these days. And ladies too. Some pretty attractive hobos out there sometimes. You never know what's going on here. You never know. This is, again, the Face Off Podcast, episode 14. Is it 14? It is 14. And nobody thought that we'd see 14. And here it is. I didn't think it had legs. I didn't think it would spread that thickly to where this would actually be happening. But here we are, number 14 in the middle of the day. And this is either going out to be released on Friday or Saturday. It's Friday right now, so possibly today, probably today. Because I noticed that all on my podcast app, all my podcasts were coming out on Monday or Tuesday, and I assume, or Sunday night. Theo Vance comes out on Sunday night, like way early in the morning, you know. So I assume the reason for that is that a lot of people listen to podcasts while they're at work. That's what I do. I listen to them all the time when I'm at work. And so they do their work day, you know, for the work week. They want them to have it, you know, for Monday, for the work week. You get your podcasting in there. But I work, my Monday is Thursday, so I've already burned through them by the time I get to work. So I'm gonna start putting this out on Friday or Saturday. I'm pretty sure Friday. We'll see how it goes. Possibly Saturday. But I'll put it out on the weekend. So there's something there on the weekend. It's little old me gibbering in your ear bones. saying stuff into a microphone. Speaking of which, we got a sweet new microphone cover. It's blue. It's like a royal blue. It's non-toxic. I can already feel it's got a healing aura about it. I feel it healing the cancer from my other homemade microphone cover that was the opposite. It was a life force sucking demon from hell that did in fact give me throat and mouth and sinus cancer. And this one is slurping the cancer out of my soul and leaving me clean and pure of heart. And really it's just going to lead us meaning me and all the voices, into a cornucopia of excellence, of greatness, where I quit stammering so much. I don't like that stammering thing. That's a part of my speech that I don't care for, and I'm going to work on getting better at it. I was talking about podcasts at the beginning up there. I listen to a bunch of podcasts. I listen to a whole bunch of them. I'm going to tell you what they are. I'm going to tell you right now, it's very male-centric. There's a lot of dudes in my podcasting. It's a lot of dudes. So, just to forewarn you, there's not a lot of female presence in my podcast. So, my podcast list. So, I listen to, here's my subscription list. I just started listening to Ron Funch's podcast. It's brand new. It's called Getting Better with Ron Funches. It's very good. I would check it out. It's about 4 episodes deep. Give that a shot. Doug Loves Movies. That's with Doug Benson. It's a little game show. He has some comics on there. They play movie trivia games. It's really fun and hilarious. So if you want something light and goofy and fun, give it a shot. I've got Hellions podcast that I listen to from time to time. That's a little dude on Instagram called Squishy Puss who draws a cat with tentacles. But he's very, very smart, talks about business and doing stuff. So if you need that, for some reason, I have the Zach Lyman podcast on here. No new episodes though, but the ones he has on there are fun. And he keeps threatening to have a new episode. Hot Breath podcast with Joel Byers. That's a very, very cool podcast from out of Atlanta. And he talks about how to be a badass comedian with a whole bunch of badass comedians. Totally badass. This past weekend with Theo Vaughn. That's a solid goofball podcast. Theo Vaughn's a weird dude. Real weird. You get to plumb the depths of his weirdness with guests. Hannibal Buress comes out every once in a while with his Handsome Rambler podcast. That's pretty fun. They play music on it. They just jam live with a weird, what do you call that thing? It's I don't know what it's called. It's like a harmonium or something. No, wait, that's from Futurama, I think. They have like a beat guy. They got beats. Sometimes somebody will rap over them or sing, and they got the what do you call that thing? The vocoder thing, the auto tune. So they can auto tune their voices and stuff. And one of those things, I can't remember what it is, but it's like an electronic thing, and it's shaped like an L kind of, and you don't touch anything. You just move your hands in the little field, and it goes wah, does that kind of stuff. It's fucking cool, man. Anyway, he's got a cool laid back podcast. I got Jay Moore's More Stories on there. I like Jay Moore. He's kind of a weirdo. The Burt Cast. That's a Burt Kreischer. From time to time. It's pretty solid. The Comedy Store podcast. That has Rick Ingram and Eleanor Kerrigan. They're very funny together. Good Comedy Store people talking about the Comedy Store. The Wheeler Walker Jr. podcast. He is the best. Everybody else sucks, man. It's the Wheeler Walker Jr. podcast. The Mormon and the Meth Head podcast with Aaron Woodall and Jessa Reed. That's a fun one. Sometimes. Other times it's very serious. Gilbert Gottfried's amazing podcast, Amazing Colossal Podcast, where Gilbert Gottfried talks about movies with movie people and stuff. You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes, which hasn't been putting out any episodes, but I like Pete Holmes. He's funny, goofball kind of guy. Kill Tony with Tony Hinchcliffe, another kind of game show style, open mic comedy thing. Not really game show. They do a minute of stand-up, and then people, then they get interviewed. So aspiring comedians do a minute of stand-up and then get interviewed by Tony Hinchcliffe and some guests, and there's a band. Wow, this is a lot. I didn't realize there was so many. Your Mom's House with Christina P. and Tom Segura. That's a fun one if you like shit and farts. And shit. It's a very cultish, got a cult following, and it's a snake eating its own tail. It's hilarious. It's good. Good times. Silly and fun. The King Pepper Snake Show with Harry J. Riley. I haven't seen many new episodes out of that. That's out of Spokane here. Very cool. Who's doing lists recently. I like that. Weak Words with Ryan McComb and Sam Vidovich, also out of Spokane here. That one's a fun one. It's two dudes talking about their weeks, which is fun, and giving advice. I like that. The Drinking Debate, that's out of Spokane here. That's a show that comes up. It's a team-based debate show and alcohol consumption show, I guess. And this is the recording of it. It comes out every month. The Social Hour with Dees Casillas. It's a little more like a, what is that? More like a talk show almost. They have a guest. They do interviews. They got the news. The Jay Mitz and Traz. Swore it out. Those guys are leaving though. Coming up, the Weed and Whiskey Podcast. Haven't seen much new out of those guys. That's Josh Tieford and Casey Strain here in Spokane also. The Social Hour was also in Spokane. And another tiny little local podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience. Some, amateur slack job dude that does stuff. I don't listen to that much anymore. It kind of got, I don't know. I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, and can only hear about keto diet so many times before I feel too fat to exist. So that's all right, but it's good. I like Joe Rogan's podcast. He's cool. I did listen to the Elon Musk episode, which was very interesting. And I'm not going to just sit here talking about other podcasts all day. I just thought that's a big bit of entertainment, infotainment that goes into my head all week long. And if any of those sounded interesting, check them out and do that. Also watch some movies. This week finished up Ready Player One, which wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was. I didn't like the ending of it. It was kind of saccharine, a little too easy on the eyes sort of thing. You know what I mean? A little too good, I guess, for everybody. I like to have some sacrifice, I guess, in my movies. There's a movie on Netflix called Mr. Roosevelt. I highly recommend that. It was put together by a comedian called Noelle Wells. She's very, very funny. It was a cool, light, goofy, real funny movie. I can't recommend that enough. It was really surprising. I just put it on as I'd heard. I didn't have any expectations, and ended up watching the whole thing straight through, which is crazy for me. I don't usually do that. I don't usually do it, especially not with Face Off. I've been chopping it up like a son of a bitch. All right, so I got a bunch of funky ass notes here. They're not. We talked last week about video games, and how some people think that this life is a simulation, which I can get down with. I think that's a pretty cool idea. I can deal with that. So like we're just in a super complex simulation. The idea that eventually virtual reality will be indistinguishable from life, whether it's 20 minutes from now or 150,000 years from now, eventually if technology keeps going, it'll be indistinguishable. So if that's the case, then what's to say that it didn't already happen? And this is just some program, and some people are real people and we're not. And then what I brought up was like the idea of the Illuminati, because if I was in a video game, I would be an Illuminati asshole prick bastard, because when I get in a video game now, that's what I do. I kill everybody and I steal their shit, and I have just nothing but disdain for all those idiots that live inside that game and don't know anything more than their programming. So if this is a simulation, and that's probably what the Illuminati is asshole players. And it got me thinking about what's the other side of that, like the people. So we're people in this game, and we're programmed to do certain things, like I'm programmed to be weird, like all the time, to be fat and always worry about it and stuff, and to be confused constantly, and just always, I feel like that's a programming thing. Like I'm always fighting against that. And so there's people like who just go with their programming. Maybe they're programmed really well and everything works out really good or something. I don't know anybody like that, but and then there's people who are like constantly fighting their programming, and then there's people like those monks and stuff, right? And I don't know if I believe all those stories, but I kind of feel like I do. But of people that transcend, they meditate and they transcend and they find a stillness. So if you think about of this world as like a game, or if you just think of a game like you play, and if there was somebody that just sat there and didn't do anything, that's weird. It's like, whoa, that's really strange. What are they doing in there? It would make you wonder, like, especially if it never ever came up in the game. You're like, oh, it was just some dude sitting there. He just sits there every single time I play this game. He's sitting there, and so that's what I think of, like those monks and stuff when they meditate. Somebody who's really good at meditating, just sitting still, slowing the mind, turning the programming off. They sort of see everything for what it is, and it's just a show, a play for somebody. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that needs to be fleshed out more as an idea. I feel like I haven't been doing that enough. I haven't been letting myself get bored. I've been filling up every moment constantly, all the time, with something, and then worrying if it's going to be enough or not. Like if I'm at work and I'm like, well, this will take me 30 minutes to do, and then how can I waste 45 minutes and then spend another 30 minutes working, kind of thing, and or if I'm at home, I'm like, I gotta go get groceries. Is that gonna take an hour or an hour and a half? And that'll be right when I get home. We'll be able to walk the dogs and then feed the dogs, and then I can make dinner, and then we'll have half an hour to watch something, and then I gotta go to bed, and my whole day is planned out like that, like trying to figure out what I'm doing. And I don't give myself there. I get bored within that, but I don't give myself time to just get organically bored. And I think it's important to feel that sort of, I don't know, you have to, I think if you don't have time to just get organically bored, well, if I don't have time to get organically bored, then I just get bored with my whole day. Everything seems boring and stupid and pointless. But I don't know. I don't know. Here's another idea. Let's just totally switch it up, because there was a thing I kept wanting to bring up, and I think I might have brought it up once, but I want to bring it up again because I think it's really interesting, is that there was this book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and in that book, which is a great book, it's a quality book, and it is concerned with quality all day, every day. But in that book, there's this idea presented about, I don't remember what culture it was, but when they were thinking of the past and the future, they thought of it reverse of how we think of it, because the way that we think of it is, I got a future so bright I got to wear shades. So the future is in front of me and I'm going towards my future, and the past is behind us, right? So the way that these people thought about it was that the future was behind you and the past was in front. And you could mistake the past for the future, but you know that it's the past because you can see it all. The future is behind. You can't see what's going on, what's happening, what's gonna happen. You can predict it based on all the stuff that's gone on in the past, but that's only a prediction. That's not what's actually happening. So, people can get like focused on that past and feel like that's what's happening now and what's happening in the future. That's what like trauma does to people and stuff. And so I don't know where I was really going with that, but you got that there. In this movie Face Off that we've been talking about ad nauseum forever, and not even halfway there. 14 weeks in. That's just over. What is that? That's over 3 months. Is that for real? Over 3 months? Man, that's crazy. 3.5 months? What? So we're a quarter of the way. we're over a quarter of the way there. That's pretty good. It's not quite as awesome as a half, not as awesome as completely there, but we're getting there. So this Face Off movie, I had this weird thing happen to me, because the two. I'm going to have to just put this out there and then come back to it, I think. But the two main characters, they're actors. Okay, and in the movie, one guy gets his face cut off and put on another guy's face, and then the other guy steals the other dude's face. But they don't do that in real life. This is the most convincing trick of this movie, I think, is it feels like... It's confusing because it's not, when you look at it, it's not confusing at all. It's like, oh yeah, okay, John Travolta is the bad guy now instead of the good guy, and Nicolas Cage is the good guy. But it's confusing because they're the same character. So it's almost like this character is some outer worldly thing, right? It doesn't necessarily exist except for the idea of it. So it's this ethereal thing, the character of Castor Troy or the character of Sean Archer. They're ethereal things that enter into the mind of an actor, and then the actor plays the role with these sort of ideas inside their mind. And so it's really okay. So it fucks me up because Sean Archer at the beginning of the movie is John Travolta, and then Nicolas Cage takes over, and it's not the same. It's Sean Archer filtered through Nicolas Cage, and then Castor Troy isn't the same either because it's Castor Troy filtered through John Travolta. And it's fucking weird. I don't know what it is. It twists up my head, though, when I start thinking about it. It's so simple, but it's so bizarre. Like, it seems like it would have just been easier to actually do the face surgery. to actually pull it off so that Nicolas Cage's face got put onto John Travolta's body, and then John Travolta just kept being Sean Archer, but with Nicolas Cage's face. Like, they could have done, if they would have, okay, so it would have been even more of a mindfuck if they had to do that movie now and they just literally face swapped them. So it was like, if they did it like CGI, man, I don't know. What a different movie it would be. You know what I mean? Because I get that when John Travolta takes over the Castor Troy character, it's still Castor Troy trying to pretend to be Sean Archer, so he has to be reserved or something. But wouldn't it be fucking weird if what they did instead of just switching roles is they just literally did the thing. They switched the faces and they had like Nicolas Cage in a motion capture suit or something like that. So he was still playing Castor Trump. I'm putting way too much thought. Is this actually confusing, or is this just me? I put so much thought into this, and I still can't put it out there. I still can't quite wrap my head around it. I guess maybe because I'm not an actor. Like, I'm not an actor, and I think that if I was to act, I would basically just be acting like me. You know? So I'm not, so I don't get that thing. Like, I've known actors before who get caught up in roles, and I don't quite understand it. So I guess maybe that's my problem here, is I just don't understand the conceit of acting enough to really deal with it, you know? It's throwing me off. I got another quick theory about this movie, and I just want to throw it out there. I haven't watched the movie again with this theory in mind. It just popped up. And if you haven't watched Face Off, then what are you doing with your life? you got to watch it at least once to have an idea of what I'm even fucking talking about. Here, I guess there could be some entertainment value in not watching it and just listening to me fucking ramble about it like an asshole for hours and hours. But I don't know, man. I think you got to get in there. You got to really get in there. Maybe not watch it 52 times, but maybe like twice, or just take in like a couple of minutes every week or something, like an inoculation, you know. And just get in there and check out. I highly recommend checking out Lazaro. He's my favorite speaking part in the movie. And then the bodyguard, or not the bodyguard, but the guard that the FBI sends over to look after Eve Archer. That guy's the best. Doesn't do anything. So here's my theory. And this is I'm gonna look for clues. All right. So we come into this movie with what feels like a flashback. Everything looks weird. It's a little washed out and slow-mo-y and stuff. And this is the scene in which Mikey Archer, Sean Archer's little son, gets killed accidentally in a botched assassination attempt by Castor Troy. All right. And Sean Archer survives to go and get his revenge. Here's my theory, is that Sean Archer did not survive. He died right there. There's a couple of things just right off the bat that back this up. One of the main things is that Castor Troy doesn't take another shot. He just leaves. Just gets up and leaves. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any fucking sense at all. All right. He would have definitely taken him out. Another thing is that it looks different than the rest of the movie. It's washed out. It's weird. looking. And my theory is that that's because it is different from the rest of the movie. That's the real life thing that happened. And the thing that happens after that, where it gets all crisp and clear, it says 6 years later, and gets all crisp and clear and everything. That's the fake part. But you can't have a whole movie that's all washed out and shitty, you know, so they inverted them. And so from that point where it says 6 years later, all of this is imaginary. This is all Sean Archer's batshit soul clinging to life, clinging to Earth, and fighting its way through all of the trials and tribulations to go to the afterlife. You know, it's still got unfinished business or whatever. And I don't know if you can hear my dog snoring in the background, but she is fucking going to town. I don't think so. It looks like I got flat lines. So, a la Jacob's Ladder, a la Birdman. I'm sure there's a billion other movies too, but those two just pop into my head right away. Here's Sean Archer, his soul being wrestled and he's having to face down his greatest fears, you know, losing people and everything. But but the movie, all the people in it, they're all batshit weird, crazy. This could be the explanation for the entire movie. Why is everybody so weird? Because he's making them do all this stuff, you know, and this is all happening in his mind. He's imagining this as he's dying, as he's being snuffed out. And then further, and like I said, I haven't watched this with this theory in mind, but further evidence would be the very last scene when Sean Archer shows back up after getting his face surgery done, and he's back to his normal John Travolta-y self, and he's got Adam in tow, Adam Troy. Yeah, let's call him Adam Troy, the kid, the replacement Mikey. He's got him in tow. And he shows up to the house, and everybody's happy to see him. They're all overjoyed and everything. And he opens as the door is open, he's standing outside of the door, and it's sunny, right? But it's foggy too. Like there's this weird, incongruous, like smoke machine fog, like this really thick fog in the background. All right. And I'm saying that this is a movie with some seriously trite and cliche religious imagery here and there, you know, the choir and the priest guy, and then the crazy funeral and all this stuff at this weird, like, yuppie ass fucking Catholic church or something, but seaside Catholic church. But so I don't think John Woo's above using cloud motif as imagery for Christianity or Catholicism or heaven or whatever it may be. And there's even parts where the Castor Troy says, "Hey, isn't this religious? This is the never-ending battle between good and evil, and you're still not having any fun." That would explain. I mean, it would explain a lot. It would explain away the whole center of this movie. This is just kind of like Jacob's Ladder. There's a part in Jacob's Ladder where Danny Aioli, I don't think that's how you say his name. Aeolia, a big Italian dude. He plays the Tim Robbins chiropractor in the movie, and he tells him flat out, basically lays out the story. He says, if you're fighting against the spirits pulling at you, then they're gonna seem like demons. But if you give in, all of a sudden they seem like angels. So it's how you interact with the situation, right? And so here's Sean Archer trying to learn lessons in the most roundabout way possible. He's such a fucking prick. And he's dead. He's dead. That's what my theory is that he is dead. And at the end, he gets whatever satisfaction it is. Here's the other theory, is that he actually dies at the end. So all this stuff actually does happen, and then he just dies on the beach with Castor Troy at the very end. Either way, I don't think he lives. I don't think he survives. They throw him in the same ambulance with Castor Troy. Dead corpse. You throw those two dudes together, if somebody kills somebody else, you throw them together in the ambulance and take away. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I had this idea for this episode. Oh, that was noisy. Jeez. I had this idea for this episode was to go through the IMDb trivia page. It turns out the IMDb trivia page is about 9,000 entries long. There's so many. Like, I can't even scroll through them, I don't think. I get, like, thumb tired. Look at that. I'm still scrolling. It's still going. Maybe we should start at the bottom. Anyway, let's go ahead and, ooh, wow, this has got some juicy tidbits in it. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in here. So this is the trivia from the IMDb page. We're gonna go in and see if there's anything interesting, talk about it, do all that stuff. Originally, Nicolas Cage turned down the role of Castor Troy, citing a lack of interest in playing a villain. Once he was told that he would actually be playing the hero for the majority of the film, he quickly signed on. Stoopy. He wanted to be the hero, man. Has Nicolas Cage been the bad guy? I want to say not really. I feel like there was like Fu Manchu or something in Planet Terror. That was like one of those fake previews, I think. He played Fu Manchu. It was just a little tiny role. Has he played the bad guy before? I don't think. I think Tom Hanks hasn't really played the bad guy, and maybe Nicolas Cage too. I mean, he obviously plays Castor Troy in this movie for a few minutes, but that's about it. I can't think of anything else right off the tippy top of my head. The Cage and Travolta spent 2 weeks together to learn how to play each other. They decided on specific gestures and vocal cadences for each character that could be mimicked. They did not do great. Not a good job. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were in mind to play the lead roles, but he decided that John Woo decided that John Travolta and Nicolas Cage would be more suited. Come on. 1997, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Fuck yeah. That would be hilarious. That would have been the best thing ever, because they're way more different. Than they would have to come up with a whole different thing, like a whole entire different, like, because their body shapes are so different. They'd have to come up with a whole different thing. Oh, that would have been awesome. I would have been and they both have weird sort of accents. I would have been way into that. Like, fuck, man, who would have played the bad guy? I guess it would have probably been, I would think it would have been Arnold Schwarzenegger playing the Castor Troy part, and Sylvester Stallone playing the Archer part, and then Schwarzenegger would become Archer for the majority of the movie. So he would be the good guy for the majority of the movie, and Sylvester Stallone would be the bad guy, right? Yeah, that would be fucking sweet. I think they should still do that right now. Be badass. There was a real life face transplant in 2012. Some dude got shot himself in the face with a shotgun. Whoa, he shot himself in the face with a shotgun in 1997, and then they did a face transplant in 2012. Damn, 15 years later without a face. The crew shot on Nicolas Cage's birthday. John Woo let Cage get emotionally charged up for a scene and then surprised him with a birthday cake. Afterwards, Cage asked Woo not to do that again. That's so stupid. No birthday cake. You don't get to do that, you dumb shit. The horrible scene, I'm just going to interject. The awful scene of Adam listening to Over the Rainbow on his portable headphones was John Woo's idea, not part of the original script. Go figure. John Woo is a terrible person. Paramount Pictures refused to finance the extra scene, and John Woo used his own money to make it happen. He was later paid back after it turned out to be profitable. God damn, dude. That is an awful thing to put in there. It was to actually... Shit. John Woo, or the studio, wanted to take the slash out of the title. This movie is named Face/Off. And the studio wanted to take it out of there, but John Woo kept it in so they wouldn't think it was a hockey movie. The name of the floating prison, Erewhon, is an anagram of nowhere, which was originally used as the title of a satirical novel by Samuel Butler in 1872. Right. Samuel Butler. I was thinking of Samuel Beckett. I read some Samuel Beckett books, but not any Samuel Butler books. I recommend those Samuel Beckett books. They're very, very weird. They're kind of just about a guy in a dark room, really, who doesn't know what the hell is going on. Okay, so John Woo's previous movies, Hard Target and Broken Arrow, and his later one, Mission Impossible 2, wait, what's going on here? Oh, this movie had little to no studio interference, and the only scene that the MPAA demanded be cut was the opening assassination scene. What the fuck? That one's bullshit. Nobody knows shit. That one was dumb. Sorry about that. The trademark, the doves flying, so referencing the killer. I think I'm going to do a reference episode where I try to pick out all the references in this movie, because there is a lot of them, and there's some that are maybe tenuous at best, but let's still go for it. According to his blood test results, Castor Troy is probably diabetic. His glycohemoglobin was much higher than 6.5. Oh, man. That makes sense. He had candy in his box. He likes candy, I guess. John Travolta asked if they were making fun of him with a ridiculous chin line. That's stupid. Oh, that's stupid too. Well, okay, so the blood types of the two main characters are mentioned in the movie as at a subtle level reflect their antagonistic nature. Archer's blood type is O negative, while Troy's is AB positive. These two blood types are as different as you can get. O negative is a universal donor, which reflects Archer's role as a policeman dedicated to serving the community, while Troy's AB positive, the universal recipient, suggests someone who takes from society without giving anything back. God damn, that's a stretch. Really? Are you serious? Are you serious right now? You could just look at it as positive and negative, and I would say that's right. Troy seems more positive than Archer. Archer seems like a negative dick, condescending prick bastard. According to some producer, most of the challenging action scenes, including the fight on the deck of the boat and the airplane going down the runway, were originally planned as green screen shot, but they filmed them practically to support the quote unquote realism of the story. That's great. You know what? I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. These are boring. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom because this is probably where it's less like reputable. I would say it probably gets less reputable down here. Even though Arnold and Sylvester Stallone were considered to play the main roles and didn't get the shot, they later worked together in The Expendables, which they both escaped from a futuristic prison. Stupid. That was a dumb one. In the narrative behind Castor Troy being Adam's father, Castor Troy had a threesome with Sasha and Dietrich, and Adam had been conceived. I don't think that's right, because Dietrich and Sasha are brother and sister. Now, they do kiss on the mouth for an extended period of time, but I don't think they banged. My idea was that that Castor Troy conceived Adam right after killing the other dude, Mikey, right after killing Mikey. My guess, though, is that in the idea of Sean Archer getting killed, that Adam doesn't even exist, because it's all just a figment from that point on. None of that shit happens. It's all just a stylized way of getting dead. The boat chase won an MTV Movie Award for Best Action Scene. Oh man, John Woo used a harpoon instead of a gun because he wanted Castor to die like Jesus with the spear. So corny religious bullshit that's totally in line with the the cloudy religious ending. That's what I'm talking about there. I should learn about this. The reading doesn't. I'm not a good reader out loud, just off the top, and it makes my brain not work. It's like my brain's trying to work in two different ways here. Let's do a couple more of these here. One of two, John Travolta. So John Travolta played the villain in Broken Arrow also. Castor Troy kills a total of 20 people during the course of this film. Oh, you stupid asshole. So here we go. I'm contentious with this. I'm going to thumbs down this. Archer only kills 4 people. Pollux Troy, Lars, Leo, and Castor Troy. That is incorrect. Sean Archer kills a bunch of cops. A whole bunch of them. Getting out of that prison, it's maybe not, 100% on some of them. Shoot them right in the fucking back and takes them down. The hydrochloric acid or whatever. Those guys are dead. They get sprayed on by this shit and then fall like 50 feet. Give me a fucking break, man. You guys are fully dead. So he definitely killed more people than that. The special edition DVD contains several deleted scenes, most notably an alternate ending in which Sean Archer looks into a mirror and Eve gasps as she and the audience sees Castor Troy's face in Archer's reflection. The studio nixed this ambiguous ending in favor of a happy conclusion in which Archer is definitely completely himself again and Castor is dead with no chance of returning. In the film, Archer, that sounds like fucking John Woo. It sounds like some stupid idiot bullshit. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. In the film, Archer mourns his deceased son, Michael. In real life, John Travolta's son, Jet, passed away at the age of 16 in 2009. I don't know how that's connected at all. It's just very slightly. Joan Allen. Joan Allen's the actor that plays Eve, and she does well from time to time. Not the whole way, but close. Yeah. So these are getting really shitty. Let's see here. Let's keep going. 3 sets of each boats were built for the movie. Castor Troy has 2 handguns. That's a John Woo trademark. A lot of people did movies together after this. Let's see what this says here. In the script in the final confrontation, Archer first shoots Castor in the chest with a pistol. Then, as Castor tries to flee, shoots him in the leg. He also tries to mutilate his face with the boat still spinning propeller before succumbing to his bullet wounds. Eve tells Wanda and Buzz of the deception in person rather than on the phone in the script. In turn, there are more agents present, including Wanda and Buzz, and Castor uses Jamie as a human shield. Huh. Man, these are not as interesting as I thought they would be. Not as interesting. Oh, this actually explains one here. After killing Lazaro, Castor pretends to apply CPR when the medics show up. So that would explain away the bruise from heart punching him. If you're able to get it working, just get in there and do so, because you get fucked up when somebody gives you CPR. That breaks ribs. You're all fucked up after that. You got to break through the chest plate to even get it to work. I think that's why in the movies they'll show somebody, you take a big swing and punch them right in the chest, like a hammer fist to the chest bone area. Okay, let's see here. These are all things that were in the script. Maybe I'll look at that shit later on. Yeah, the different stuff. Ooh, Archer's first name was John, not Sean. I like John better. I think John Travolta is 2 inches taller than Nick Cage. You can't really change that in surgery. Oh man, this is actually a pretty bad idea. Yep, there's the Wilhelm screen. Let's do 2 more, and then I'm getting out of this fucking thing, because that was it was a stupid idea to read from these things here right now. Yeah, look at this. Both Harve Presnell and John Carroll Lynch appeared together in Fargo in 1996. They didn't share any screen time together in either film. Now that's the warden is John Carroll Lynch, and Harve Presnell is Lazaro. Those two dudes came out of Fargo, out of the Coen Brothers. They came out of a Coen Brothers movie, one of the most acclaimed Coen Brothers movie, and into Face Off the next year. God damn it. It's hard being a character actor, right? It's tough. Real tough. Okay, let's do... Oh, this is cool. Gina Gershon told John Woo that she wanted to shave her head for the role. He didn't like the idea. That's fucking cool, man. That would have been badass in 96. A bald Gina Gershon kicking ass and taking names. Fuck yeah, man. That would have been cool as shit. But nope, 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 not having it. Not having it because so Chow Yun Fat was rumored to be in the movie, but his role was taken by Margaret Cho. That's a weird that's a weird one. Oh, so all right, I'm gonna get out of here with this one. This is bullshit. Let's do one more. In early drafts of the script, Archer went to Castor's mother's place to hide out. The writers wanted the mother to be played by Elizabeth Taylor or Jack Nicholson in drag. What the motherfuck, man? What is this movie? What are we looking at here? We're just seeing the results of this movie squeezed through a mesh. You know, this could have been such a fucking crazy movie. Crazy. Could you imagine this? Okay, so bald Gina Gershon in this movie, kicking ass, taking names. Jack Nicholson in drag playing Castor Troy's wacky mom. That would be so fucking dope. What else was there? There was some other shit on there too, but I can't quite recall it. Let's see what else is there that we didn't talk about here. I know there's other stuff for sure. Yeah. But there's a couple of little things here we could talk about, but I don't want to. I'm done with it. I'm done with Face Off, man. I quit forever. This is the final episode. We're done. I'm never gonna watch it. I'm actually gonna buy every copy that I see and burn it because I don't wanna watch it anymore. I don't want anybody else to watch it anymore. I'm gonna go through there though and see, because that was starting to get interesting. Actually, you know, I'd found some weird little facts there about that shit. That's crazy. It just got stupid. Yeah, all this stuff, man. Bunch of dummies. All right, I'm sorry. Every time I try to read something, my brain just shuts off completely. 100%. So I'm man. So yeah, Face Off, boy, that could have been. I'm gonna read through those trivia because I like some of the stuff that they could have done, that they would have possibly done. You know what I mean? Shit, Jack Nicholson in drag is pretty badass, but Elizabeth Taylor would be fucking crazy too. Holy shit, that would have been such a different movie. You know, I feel like there was not a lot of responsibility taken by actors on the set. Hey, one of those trivias was that Dietrich shaved his head. He was supposed to have hair too. He just showed up bald. Fuck, man. So he stole Gina Gershon's idea. What a dildo. His name's not Dietrich in real life. It's Nick Cassavetes. Nicholas Cassavetes. Something like that. Pretty good in this movie. not really. Oh man, this has been an interesting experience here. The middle of the day, looking outside. It's a beautiful day. It's green. It's wonderful. It's not the kind of day to sit inside talking about Face Off. This is the kind of day to hug your dogs, go out, take a little walk, hang out with some people that you know, go eat some pizza out on a balcony or a patio or something. You know, one of those places where you're outside, you got a nice table. That's what you should do. That's what we should all do. Flood the world with pizza right now. Yep. I think I'm going to... Okay, so here we go. We're calling it. This is a shorty. A little bit of a shorty. I like to do them longer. I like to do about an hour and a half. But sometimes I know I make a bad call. Sometimes I make a bad call and I end up trying to read and talk at the same time, and it doesn't work out, you know? What the fuck you gonna do? There's not much to do. This is the first Friday episode. I think I like it. I think Friday could work. Might change the whole tone of everything, but I think it could work. Could be good. Let's give it a shot, man. Let's try that shit out. Yeah, okay. Cool. Let's get out of here. Hey, man, and girls, and boys, and women, and you know, any kind of non-binary, any kind of mixture there, anybody, humans. If there's dogs listening, a giraffe. I would really love it if there was a giraffe in the world that dug this podcast and was listening on a weekly basis, you know. A big fan, a big long-necked fan of the pod. I've heard I saw a video of some giraffes fighting. I heard their heads are like just giant boulders attached to like big long muscle necks. They just try to slam each other with their heads. They got those weird hairy horns on their heads. Those are strange looking, huh? They're just like knobs. I wonder if you could just hang on to those knobs and ride a giraffe around. If there's any giraffes listening, I would like to hang on your knobs and ride you around. I'm a big man though, so you gotta have a strong neck. Gotta have a strong neck. Alright, giraffes. Everybody, thank you. Have a good evening or morning. Just be good. Alright? Yeah. Alright. Have a good one. I'm still trying to spontaneously come up with a catchphrase. Bye.